No country has ever prospered that failed to put its own interests first. We will no longer surrender this country or its people to the false song of globalism.
New Right Network presents Right Now, the featured podcast of New Right Network. Mobilizing, countering the left, energizing the right. New Right Network, home of the New Right movement.
Welcome to Right Now, the official podcast of the New Right Network. I'm Ryan, your host, and with me today is Laura Klassen, and she's here to talk about Choice42. It's a abortion group, anti-abortion group in Canada, and they make videos and do a lot of exciting stuff. Laura, thank you for making your time, and I understand you guys had a storm yesterday, so I'm glad you were able to be with us.
Yes, well, yeah, we did, but thank you for having me.
Absolutely. So, Choice42, you want to go bring everybody up to speed about the organization and your part in it?
Sure. So it is a pro-life Canadian organization. We're about 3 years old now. I am the executive director of it, and we basically have two main goals. The first is to reach out to and support women in Canada who are facing unplanned pregnancy. And the second thing that we do is try and bring awareness to Canadians about the value and the humanity of babies in the womb. Because here in Canada, preborn babies are not valued at all or seen as humans. So, yeah, that's kind of what we're up to.
We have a lot of American listeners that may be not completely up to date with the Canadian abortion laws. How is late-term abortion and all that? Is that legal in Canada? And what's the situation?
Right. So Canada is the only Western country in the world that does not have an abortion law. So it is actually, it's allowed. You're allowed to get an abortion at any point during a pregnancy, right up until the moment of birth here in Canada.
Up to the moment of birth?
Yeah.
That's shocking.
I know. Yes, it is.
I watched your video about the birth canal, and I thought that was genius. Now I understand that completely. So, my goodness, I don't even know how you'd even reconcile something like that. So what would need to be done, you think, in order to maybe kind of take a step back and look at that as Canadians and maybe, reevaluate that situation?
Yeah, well, most Canadians aren't aware that we don't have a law because we did have a law until 1988, and that law was struck down, and it was supposed to be replaced with a new law, and it just never was. So it's just a total free-for-all here.
Why was it never replaced with a law? Was it is that a partisan deal that maybe, or is that, I don't know, what is it? Is it nefarious or just ineptitude, or what is it?
They just don't care. I mean, there were a few attempts to get a law passed, and then it just kind of fizzled out. And I think people just forgot, honestly. And
they just forgot. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, it's not. As I was saying, like, babies in the womb are not valued at all here, so it's not a big deal. That we don't have a law to a lot of Canadians.
That's very disheartening to hear that. I hope that have you been able to make any progress, maybe opening up and any hearts and minds maybe towards the opposite way of that, and valuing human life. I don't know how to say that. It's just so shocking to me. Okay,
I know. Yeah, it's totally shocking. Yeah, well, we have. There also is such a blackout here in Canada on the whole topic. Nobody wants to discuss it. The government, Trudeau has actually said the abortion debate is over. We're not talking about it anymore. Just the way the whole thing is spun, as abortion is women's rights, and we're so progressive here. And it's just unbelievable, the situation of having the law.
It's unbelievable. They're so progressive as to become themselves murderers of their own. It's insane.
Yeah.
And what gets me, I think, as being an American, looking at it, I mean, Canadians are, famously, stereotypically very pleasant and nice. Okay.
Yeah.
Right, and they're very accommodating. Every time I've been to Canada, it's a maple syrup good time for sure.
Oh, yeah.
But the thing you get it is that with this behind that veneer of civility and politeness, there really is a dark underbelly to that, and I think it comes out very pronounced in the abortion situation in Canada. It seems, they just don't care. I mean, I think they throw their babies away like trash, apparently, and I just don't understand how those two things coincide with each other. Canada, I believe, Canada, I think, even has an official religion, don't they? Are they under the Church of England? Is that right?
Yeah.
And that they certainly wouldn't condone the abortion. So, I mean, what's the situation with that?
Well, I mean, I wouldn't really call Canada that much of a Christian nation at this point. So that doesn't really play into it at all.
Okay. So the morality situation has slid in recent years.
Yes.
To say the least. Okay.
Yeah.
So, because we know we really are big fans of Faith Goldie, and we hope that we can see her as a mayor of Toronto. And I see that she's getting stonewalled at every turn there, and so a lot of the politics in Canada seem to be iffy, and as far as but hopefully we can see a new dawn and things work out. As far as the abortion debate goes in Canada, how can people help? How can they make a change there in Canada?
Well, there's a couple groups here that are working toward that. We are with creating awareness and, actually offering the support so women don't have to, or so they don't feel like they have to choose abortion. There's a group called We Need a Law, which, I mean, it's pretty obvious as to what they're up to. And there's also a really cool group that's very new called Right Now. And they are working to get pro-life MPs elected into government so that if a pro-life law is ever presented, that it would have a chance at passing. Because right now, even if one was brought up, there's no way that it would get approved.
Well, did you see the ferocity in which the left in the United States fought the confirmation of Brett Kavanaugh?
Right.
Even making up, I mean, we're talking wild lies. I don't know what you guys saw up there, but I mean, insinuating this very qualified moral man was capable of just the most despicable crimes to smear him. I would have a feeling, and I can't speak for that. I mean, I would think that if things are going to change, it would be very similar in Canada. So I hope that, you guys are able to do it with a smoother transition than we are seeing here in the United States, to say the least.
Yeah, I mean, it's gonna be a battle ahead here for sure.
Do you guys? So the people that's providing abortions in Canada, is that? I'm sure it's not Planned Parenthood. That's an American organization. Perhaps it is. I don't know. They may have a Canadian branch or something. But
yeah.
What's the organization that's actually doing it? It's not the government themselves doing it. Is it a private company?
They're all private clinics. We actually do have a Planned Parenthood in Toronto, and I'm not sure if there's more. But there are, private clinics, and abortion is completely funded 100% by our tax dollars in Canada.
You say it's funded 100% by, is that under the socialized medicine that you guys provide up there?
Yeah.
That. See, there's a huge... okay. Well, there's a lot of people, especially particularly in America, Roman Catholics have really protested giving tax money to things that would, provide abortions and things like that, because that's against their moral and ethical beliefs.
Right.
And so to me, it seems that would be against the religious Canadians, or just Canadians with any kind of scruples whatsoever, that they wouldn't give their tax money to provide the murder of the unborn children in the next generation of Canadians.
Absolutely. But again, I don't think most Canadians realize. And yeah, we have no say in the matter. Like, I'm very anti-abortion, and here's my money going to pay for it. So it's very frustrating.
Right, and you don't get a choice. See, that's what I'm saying, is that's oppressive to you.
Right.
But why is it not the oppression that's being given to you, and using your tax money, that's something that you view as immoral and just dastardly, and that you have to pay for it? I think that's unjust, and I hope that we never see that in the United States.
I hope you don't either. It's definitely unjust, but that's the way it is here, right? Abortion is viewed as such a right, and it's not seen for the human killing that it actually is.
Yeah, we've seen a lot of that in the United States for sure, and I think that with the election of our president Donald Trump, I think you see more of a quickening of the abortion debate. I think for a long time, specifically under Obama, they had the attitude that Justin Trudeau seems to hold now, in that it's over, the debate's been had, and the Democrats in this country want to do that because Planned Parenthood is one of, if not the biggest donor to the Democratic Party.
Wow.
And so, single donor. And then that's why they fight it so hard, is because essentially they want to act like they're these moral, people on this I guess, on the moral crusade.
Yeah.
And in reality, what they're doing is they're lining their own pockets.
Yeah.
And so I don't know. Again, I don't know what the situation in Canada is with that. But I can see for sure. Just, I mean, it's unbelievable the efforts that you make. I mean, I've watched your videos, and I'm going to tell everybody. And whenever we send this out, I'm going to make sure we give a link so people can look at your videos. They're well done. The message is perfect. And when I talked to you yesterday for the first time, is I mentioned I love it because the left in both countries loves to take this cutesy role. This, oh, you know, we're so much more enlightened and intelligent. At the same time, selling you this, in my personal opinion, a satanic bag of tricks that includes abortion. And so I think that you are just turning that on its head, and you are definitely giving a taste of their own medicine, because you're making those smart, well-done videos, but, you know, projecting a very positive image and a very moral image. I can't believe we're having this conversation in 2018. People are able to have an abortion the day before they give birth. I'm sorry.
I know. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Well, the point, like the way this whole atmosphere of like with this country being pro-abortion, and like for you guys, the way that Roe v. Wade came about, like it was just so brilliant in terms of the marketing around the pro-choice side. All of their little slogans, you know, my body, my choice, the whole thing with the coat hangers.
Even, hold on, they did so well that even just that verbiage that you just used, pro-choice.
Yeah.
It's that.
Yes.
Right. Exactly.
Exactly.
And they have, you know, in reality, they might as well call it what it is. I mean, it's the murder of the unborn, you know,
right.
And so, but yet everything's happy. See, everything's pro-choice.
Yes. Everything's very, yeah. So I'm really actually impressed at how that all played out. I mean, it wasn't born yet, but just looking back and seeing the way that the need for abortion was portrayed, it was brilliant marketing. So I think now, like we need brilliant marketing to open people's eyes as to what abortion actually is. So that's what we're trying to do with some of our videos.
110%. I've noticed that the feminist movement, and this is true in Canada also, third wave feminism sells it that it's not just an option, or as they put it, air quote, pro-choice. They sell abortion as this is your unalienable right as a woman to abort that fetus up till the hour before of delivery. Right. And to me, that is just lunacy, insanity, and truly hypocritical of them. What do you think?
Yeah, well, it's definitely messed up. I mean, like, telling a woman that she's going to be better off to kill her own child as a solution to a certain life circumstance, like killing a person should not be an option as a solution to anything. So, yeah, it's just totally messed up.
Yeah, you preach that. That's 100% true. Like, yeah, it is messed up. And, you know, there's going to be a whole generation of very lonely cat ladies in Canada, you know, because of the decisions that they're making. So where are we at right now with Choice42? I mean, where are we in the, are we just getting started? Are we established? Are we making big waves? What are we doing in Canada?
Yeah, so we launched 3 years ago, and it immediately took off. At first, we were focusing more on the support to women facing an unplanned pregnancy, because Canada's resources, there's lots of them, but they're not organized. They weren't organized in any place where a woman could just go online and see what's in her local area. So we did that. We put together Canada's largest database of pregnancy resources. So, you know, the pregnancy care centers, the maternity homes, the adoption agencies, and also the post-abortive counseling organizations. So that was our first move, and it really took off because it was needed. And so then we started focusing more on outreach to just your everyday Canadian about what's going on. And since, like, we had a couple different series of videos, but since the Just Saying videos, we've really gotten worldwide attention. And, you know, we have people in other countries wanting to start Choice42 chapters in their countries. So we're just looking into where we're going to take this in the future, because it got really big really fast, which is cool.
Well, it's much needed. Almost looking at it, I mean, I grew up, I was born way after Roe v. Wade. And one thing I've noticed, you know, in the United States my entire life, as I've always kind of thought, you know, if you have this abortion, I mean, how is this not an issue. These people are just literally, grinding up these children. Let's say what it is, and everyone just acts like it's hunky dory.
Right.
And then you have these feminists. Have you encountered any kind of pushback from feminist groups there in Canada that are like, "What are you doing?" and just they think that they need to shut you guys down, or they're trying to throw I don't know, a wrench in the gears or anything like that?
Yeah, of course. But for us, since we're all online, things have been, I mean, we get a ton of hate mail, we get threats online and that kind of thing, but that doesn't
Gotta love internet.
Yeah, that
gotta love internet trolls. Yeah.
That doesn't bother me at all. So, but some of the other, like if you saw like 2 weeks ago with that guy kicking my friend in Toronto on video, that they're calling it the roundhouse kick. I'm not sure.
Oh, you knew that lady that got kicked by
yeah. Yeah, that's
right.
Marie Claire. Yeah, I'm here in Toronto.
Oh my goodness, yeah. We tagged him online as Cuck Norris.
Yes.
And right, and so that I don't know, was he arrested? And was there any follow up on that?
Yeah, so he turned himself in, and I think there were 8 charges laid, and now he's out on bail.
Yeah, that comes, and I think that when I viewed the video, he came across to me as somebody that was very mentally unstable because he's sitting there and he's his demeanor is so flippant, so arrogant.
Yeah.
And then out of nowhere, he just gives like this weird kind of attempt at a kick, and I guess it didn't land. Was she okay? Did she have any injuries?
She was hurt. Like he kicked her hard in the shoulder, but like, no, she's fine. And the thing is, she's so tiny. Of all the people there for him to go after, he goes after, this slight woman.
That's what bullies do.
Well, and the thing is, he is known to pro-life people because some other organizations have him on tape as well, on video, being aggressive and violent toward them. And other charges have been laid in those situations now as well.
To me, he comes across like somebody that has, like I said, mental issues, and I hope that he does get the mental treatment that he needs. Yeah. But that kind of aggressive attitude that you see is just very prevalent. And I've seen myself. I've seen people bring up the abortion debate, things like that, and people just become especially feminists. They become hostile and just violent almost. And I just I don't know what exactly causes that. And I'm sure that you get a lot of that. At least said because you're online. And in the hate mail, like you mentioned, and then for your friend to be assaulted, and that's what it was assault. I guess you guys have to be careful. And not only that, you guys have some very restrictive laws in place that, that kind of keep that kind of, which honestly, I'm trying to dance around here because I don't want to get anybody in trouble. I don't even, because of the most restrictive laws in the Western world.
Yeah.
And so, but what I'm saying is it just kind of, it seems to me that it's all on the side of, Trudeau government currently and their world view and vision. Yeah. And so I really hope that you can get your message out there. My goodness, I didn't know you knew that lady got kicked because that took me by surprise. I couldn't believe that he's being recorded directly face to face and he kicks her anyway. Yeah,
he knew who. I know it's not the smartest thing to do.
Right, I'm not advocating kicking anybody when the camera's off. By the way,
no.
Okay. I think I phrased that wrong. I'm not saying, hey, if the camera's off, then it's kick 30. But no, that's not what I'm saying. But I'm saying that just ignorance. So is that the kind of feel on the ground that you get from most Canadians? They're just like, no, abortion is my right. And then, whenever you say, well, I care about the rights of the unborn child, they become aggressive, or are they more open to dialogue? Because again, I've been to Canada. Canadians are pretty polite about most things.
Well, I don't know what the percentage would be, but it's like a half and half situation. Lots of people are shocked that we don't have laws and willing to discuss it and talk about it. And then, some people are so offended by the pro-life message, and you just can't even have a conversation with them. And I was surprised, especially with this whole incident with Marie Claire getting kicked, because I posted the video actually of her video that she took, and so many of the comments from Canadians were like, I wish he'd hit her in the face. We all need to be doing this. This is what we need to be doing to all the pro-lifers. That was really surprising to me that so many people would write that kind of thing publicly.
See, that's another thing that gets me about some of these these pro-abortion, I guess, activists, if you want to call them that, thugs, right, is that they want to act like, it's so immoral not to have the abortion, but yet they are so degrading to women that say the opposite thing. I mean, as a man, I can say, I don't really do that. And they automatically shoot back. Well, it's not your body, it's not your choice. That's their argument. That's a stale argument that's as old as time. Yeah. God forbid that I care about human life, and I am a male. God forbid. Yes. Yeah. But as a woman, you are really vilified for believing the anti-feminist stand. You are basically a traitor to your sex in their eyes. Yeah. And I've seen women have very nasty things said and done to them just for standing up for. To me, it's common sense. I mean, Laura, maybe I'm coming across odd to you, but to me, it's just like I said this to many people. Obviously, it's a child. It has a heartbeat. It's alive. You know what I mean? There's nothing because it'd be like if you took a baby and put it under a blanket and said it doesn't exist.
Yeah. They just don't want to believe it because they want to have their right to abortion.
Right. Well, actually, what they want, to me, in my opinion, again, is that what they want is they want their right to have a reckless life with no repercussions and no responsibility. Yeah. Even if that means the snuffing out of another human life to be able to have, to be able to party, drink, and be wild all they want. That's what I actually believe. Yeah. And not in all cases. I'm thinking 99%, because I understand that there's terrible things that happen in the world. There's terrible rapes and all this kind of stuff. But I would say that the vast majority of abortions aren't done because of those horrible situations, and they're done because, like Margaret Sanger, she said that that African Americans were social weeds. She was very racist, and they use it as it's a form of eugenics to basically cull the unsavory minorities, and that's 100% what they've done. Is that in Canada? Do you also see that as the either minority situation? Are they more abortion prone, or what's the statistics on that?
You know what? We don't have statistics here in Canada.
You don't know laws, no statistics. It's the Wild West up there.
Yeah. So that's the crazy thing. Like, our tax dollars are paying for it, and yet we're not allowed to have the stats. So the hospitals report their stats, but the clinics where most of the abortions are done are not required to report their stats. And then the entire province of Quebec doesn't report anything at all. So the numbers we have, I mean,
this seems insane. You're telling me, for medical purposes, you would think that everything would have to be documented and statistics would want to be done, case studies would be done to ensure, if nothing else, better health, right? That's what they view. That's what I would think.
You would think that. No, it's, I know, it just keeps getting better, right? Yeah, and
there's no end to it in Canada.
I know. Well, speaking of eugenics, like what I've noticed here is with the prenatal diagnosis, especially of Down syndrome, the doctors here so heavily pressure anyone with that diagnosis to abort their baby. And, those tests are, first of all, wrong so much of the time. And then, even if a child does have Down syndrome, that's not a good reason to kill the child. You've definitely seen that here. Like, there are hardly any Down syndrome babies or young children anywhere.
That is 100% social engineering. Then, I mean, that they're implementing. What's bad is even if you do believe that, it's a slippery. I mean, not you, but I'm saying people in general. If they think that that's a moral choice, okay. I mean, people, whatever. There's a very slippery slope even there, because people will say, well, it's kind of splitting hairs, this or that, and then they go and have it done regardless. Yeah. And so again, it goes back into people are going to be performing abortions. Even people have the argument of back alley abortions, et cetera. But, at least your tax dollars are not funding that. That's my opinion.
Yeah. Well, I wish my tax dollars
were funding floored. It. I am floored when you told me that I can't believe I didn't know that.
I know. Well, that's the thing. No one knows anything about like what's going on with abortion up here in Canada. And the other thing, like even the mainstream media has reported on this lately, is that so sex-selective abortion is legal here because any abortion is legal here. And now it's becoming fairly obvious that within certain groups of immigrants, the boy-to-girl birth of, people who are now living here in Canada, it's way off. Like they're not having any baby girls. So it's becoming very obvious that they are going in and finding out the gender and then
Not
aborting
baby
their
girls.
girls.
This sounds like China in the 80s.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's
Sickening
something.
in a Western country. Right.
But
In a free country.
Yeah, you can't even get people to say that they think that's wrong because they're so worried about their abortion being taken away. So they won't even say, like, you know, for a country that is so pro-women, pro-women's rights and all this, they don't want to actually come out and say it's wrong to abort babies because they're girls.
That's what I mean. It's hypocritical because you have, okay, we're pro-women here now. Whoever's right here, right now, that can vote for us. But if you're an unborn woman, then you are basically ready for the grinder. And it sounds to me that, and I really am shocked, anything short of taking the baby right out and skeet shooting it is legal.
Yeah.
Sickening.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, the thing is, too, like, so people are saying, oh, but it's not happening that late with the late-term abortions. And for the most part,
well, you wouldn't know because it's not documented, right?
That's so, yeah, exactly. But I do think that most of them are done, you know, in the first trimester. But we have had some cases here recently where, so in Quebec, I think it was a year ago-ish, a woman wanted to abort her 35-week-old baby, and she couldn't find a doctor to do it. So that's the thing, right? Well, there's no law. There's no law saying the doctors have to do it. There's no law saying they can't. So if you can find a doctor to do it, great. If you can't, so she made a huge stink in the media because she couldn't find a doctor to abort the 35-week-old baby. And so then another doctor did end up doing the procedure. But that made it into the media, not because, oh my goodness, she just killed a 35-week-old baby, but because, oh my goodness, you know, it was so hard for her to be able to find someone to do the procedure.
It truly is upside down.
Yeah,
it really is. So obviously, the Trudeau government does support the abortion. I mean, right? I mean, the abortion law. Well, like I keep wanting to say that. I don't even know how to phrase that. I guess the lack of abortion laws. He supports that. Okay.
Yeah.
So
he's very vocal about it.
Well, for a man that, again, it's me talking here. For a man that goes up and plays dress up every country that he goes, it's gonna be true mockery, and I think it's laughable to the rest of the world on how much of a soy boy he really is. So thank God we have a president that has a backbone and stands up for human rights, like Donald Trump. So as far as what we need to do moving forward, I think people are going to hear this, and they're like me. I think they're going to be like, wow. They don't even have a damn law.
Yeah.
They have nothing. And then, okay. So we have no law, no supporting. No reporting.
Yeah.
Public opinion is just laissez-faire. Who cares?
Yeah.
And that's kind of a bleak outlook, to be honest, for a great Western country like Canada.
It is, except for that I think that with the younger generations, like with the technology we have now, ultrasounds, you can see that that's a human in there. You can see what that little person is doing and moving, and
you can see their little faces.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think that with a lot of the younger people, they are realizing that, you know, it's a human in there. And so now we're starting to have these conversations with people, which is really great, despite, you know, our country trying to subdue the message. Like, the group I mentioned, We Need a Law, just did a big billboard campaign across the country. And the billboard said, Canada has no abortion law. That was it. And it got taken down because it was said that they were promoting false information or something like that. I'm not sure what the exact words were. But hold on. Promoting false information. Either you have a law or you do not have a law. Right.
That's not false, right?
It's not false. Yep. So Ads Canada, I think it was, who decided they took them down. And so We Need a Law is battling that out to see what's going to happen. Yeah. Well,
let me say to you that I am sympathetic to your cause 100%, especially hearing the way where you're at. We want to support you, and we want to support Choice42 any way we can. So for all the people just getting to know you, this initial interview, maybe they've never heard you guys before. If they want to contribute, if they may want to volunteer, help out in any capacity, what should they do and where should they go?
So the main way people can help us out is online by sharing our stuff, especially when we put new videos out. We have the whole social media battle. Twitter's made our entire account ineligible to promote. Facebook's censoring our stuff. They just took down one of our posts yesterday saying that it was hate speech. So if people can...
Facebook is on a whole other level of censorship.
Yeah,
okay.
That's true. That's where we're operating, though, and that's where we're reaching people. So if people want to help by sharing our videos, especially when they first come out, that's really helpful to us. And they can also go to our website, which is www.choice42, like the numbers 42.com, and sign up for our newsletter, because we keep people updated ahead of time whenever we're going to put something out so that everyone's ready to share. Of course, we accept donations, which is always awesome. We have a donate button on our page. But really just helping us spread the message is what people can do.
Absolutely. Well, we want to help you do that. And so I just want to say that we are really grateful for you coming on and talking, and specifically behind, I would say, the thought police there in Canada. I'm glad that you guys are okay and continuing to do what you do. You guys are real heroes and very, very inspiring to the rest of us.
Thank you. I really appreciate coming on here to talk about this, because it's basically, media silence here in Canada. So it's it's great to get the message out, to the States.
We have a lot of people that, like I said, we have quite a few Canadian people that listen in and, that participate. And so, we're not just an American organization. We're very interested in what's happening in the Great White North there. And so it seems to be not going the way that we would like it to go, but, hopefully we can change that and change hearts and minds and do it the right way and, see things improve. And yes. It's honestly, it's kind of lonely warriors like yourself, who out there trying to make a difference against, basically going against the tide that changes the world. And again, you're very inspiring, like I said, and I just can't wait to talk to you again. So thank you very much for your time. Any parting words, any way to get hold of you? Like I said, I'm just trying to give you an opportunity again. Follow you where?
Yeah, so Choice42 is on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and then I have my personal pages on those as well. So Laura Klassen, people want to look me up, that'd be awesome. And Choice42.
There we go. And again, you can always follow us. We're at New Right Network. That is on Twitter, Instagram, Gab, basically anywhere. If you type in one word, New Right Network, you will find us. And again, thank you for your time. Thank you for listening, and see you soon.
You've been listening to New Right Network, mobilizing, countering, energizing. Online at newrightnetwork.com.